All right, guys, time for another, well, just, I don't know, a nerdy video, right? If you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want to. Appreciate things. I want to talk about stuff that, or at least a little bit, right? Some stuff that I'd actually like to see in the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero game, whatever, when it comes out. And I really hope, I know there's supposed to be like 164 characters, but if you've ever played the game or seen the game, I pulled it up and I already forgot the name of it. I'm an idiot. The Zenkai Battle Royale. I pulled it up and I forgot the name of it. That's how it's a kind of an obscure game. I don't think it's ever come out in America, right? But I really hope they try to add some more unique stuff to the game, even though there's supposed to be 160 whatever characters in the game, I guess, right? Because too often, you know, in like Budokai Tenkaichi 3, whatever it is, right? It feels like you're just picking from a pool of moves, right? You have, does your character have a laser beam move? And everyone's laser beam move, maybe it has a bit of a different aesthetic, but it's a laser beam super, or it's a big fireball super, or it's an explosion kind of special burst kind of super, or it's your rush super, right? You know what I mean? And then you have so many character traits and like, does your character have like the burst, the android barrier, or some shit like that? But generally speaking, it's a lot of, picking out of a pool of moves, right? So I hope they actually add some unique moves just to spice it up a little bit, because even if you look at something like this, right? Look at this fireball. Did you see his fireball? What is this bullshit? It's like a baby fireball with a little bit of a ring, right? And he has like a sword slash thing, right? He has like a sword slash thing, whatever, right? But if you actually look at a game like the Zenkai Battle Royale, which I also think it had like a lot of characters. I think this game had like 60 characters or something like this, He had like a unique fireball, right? Then he had a guard break thing like that, blah, 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 blah. And then I think he actually shoots fireballs, and, or if they shoot a fireball at you, it comes, yeah. I hope they had shit like that. And even Vegito, when you were moving and you did a fireball, he would do a spirit sword slash, and that was a guard break attack. And then he had little things like that, right? I hope they add some shit like that, right? Because any kind, you think about the game and you think that I guess there's not going to be even any two-player verse screen, right? You know what I mean? So you got to imagine, if you want to play somebody, you're going to be playing somebody online. And when I talked about the game before, the game, I'm not saying that the game is like the most insanely in-depth game ever, the most galaxy brain game ever, but those old games I do think had more depth than you would think at face value, right? You know what I mean? But I would like to see even more depth, right? Because again, there's a lot of like, did I pick a character that has a good pool of attacks, right? You know what I mean? Do I have a character that can actually try to burst out of something? You know what I mean? So if you try to add just a little bit more unique stuff, right? Hopefully, and I know there's going to be 160 characters, whatever. And so, of course, some characters are inevitably going to get shit on. But I hope that they try to add a little bit more unique stuff. Because, again, I said before, the last games, there's almost stuff that seems like so broken, especially the very first game was so incredibly broken. You know what I mean? With like rush attacks. Rush attacks didn't take super to do unless it hits you. And it took super to defend against, basically. Like, it's just like you almost have to make rules for some of the games because they're so broken. And it's like it's hard to think about it competitively. But if you think you're going to be playing this shit online and you're going to be like, wow, dude, there's going to be like no, what would you call it? Kind of like courtesy of don't play the game too broken. I guess, you know what I mean? That's not to say that the games aren't competitive at all, because I think it's interesting that the games actually did have some legitimate broken stuff, because then it makes it competitive. But hopefully they find a fine balance of that. You can at least fathom some sort of like picking a character you like, maybe because they have some sort of unique attributes. Like, again, maybe not every character has like a fireball like this. Maybe Vegito only has the charge up fireball for Banshee Blast, but he doesn't have like an actual Ki Blast kind of thing, right? Do something different. And something else I'd like to show that I hope they would do, right, is like, let's look at this, right? he was so far away that you do these supers. You like these kind of Dragon Ball Fighter laser beam battles, whatever. But I think also, if you think about it, you would think, well, he shot the laser beam at me so far away. Why the fuck would I not just dodge it in the first place, right? And so my idea that maybe they will put in, which I don't know. Let's look at this. Where is it? Oh, Jesus, Bob! What the fuck is wrong with the Kamehameha? It's a pee-pee. It's not a pee-pee, Pikachu. Look, that's the electricity. Oh, that's not electricity, Bob. It's veins in the pee-pee. Oh, Jesus. It's representing the LGBTQ. It's an LGBTQ Kamehameha. It is not a pee-pee. Oh, Jesus. So anyway, another pee-pee joke. I can't help myself. I don't know. So how would a way that you could actually try to make laser beam battles sort of something that you might see in the game? I wonder if they could do something like, and of course, I saw that you had to like mash when you do these laser beam battles, which I'm not actually totally against mashing per se, but I do think when you think about mash throws, say something in Street Fighter 2 or something like that, or mashing to get out of a dizzy, I don't necessarily think that's a bad mechanic, but thinking about just a laser beam battle, it does seem kind of stupid that someone could beat you just in a laser beam battle because they mash faster. I don't know. But what I would do is, because again, I'm thinking, why if someone shoots their LGBTQ Kamehameha at you so far away, would you not just dodge it, right? But you want to have this aspect of like Dragon Ball of characters actually shooting full screen laser beams, because I think it's kind of fun, right? Maybe you could do, let's say, the laser beam, whatever. If you just do it regularly, let's say, just for sake of argument, let's say it does 25% damage, right? But maybe if you win a beam battle, it does 50%. Let's say it does double, right? So there could actually be some sort of like, idea of why would you ever do a laser beam battle if you're thinking about the game competitively, right? And I'm trying to think about the competitive aspect, because again, it's not like you're going to be playing with your friends. You can't tell your friend, oh, this move is dumb, or this character is just too dumb. You know what I mean? We're never going to do laser beam battles. You're going to be playing people online. Rules quotation marks go out the window, right? So let's say if you do a laser beam, right, it does 25%, right? But if you win a beam battle, it does 50%. So that could actually put you in sort of situations where you're like, oh, maybe I'm losing the match or something like that. But, maybe I want to entice the other guy to get into a laser beam battle with me, right? Because you get so much more damage. You get double the damage for winning a laser beam battle. And instead of having something where you like press the buttons, and again, I said something I would have done in even Dragon Ball Fighter Z, right? Let's say, you have so many bars of meter, right? Boom, 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 boom. Let's say it takes this meter bars to do the laser beam, right? Well, let's just say instead of, mashing, you know what I mean? Let's just say if you hold down the button once you get in the beam battle, this bar also continues to like trickle down, right? I think that's like a much easier way to do a beam battle than having you to mash. Maybe you could say you could be holding down the key button with one button. Maybe that also goes into shooting the laser beam or something, and you have mashing. So, it could be twofold or something like that. But I feel like that is just such a simpler kind of like, compromise to making laser beam battles potentially happen. Like maybe my guy, maybe you're losing. Like just like in say Dragon Ball when characters like they kind of like Cell or some shit like that, or Vegeta versus Cell, right? When he did Final Flash, whatever. I guess they didn't have a beam battle with that though, but just in general, I guess Cell versus Gohan, right? The characters are kind of taunting the characters, right? Like here's my laser beam, whatever, right? So maybe that would give you some incentive, some kind of like my meter versus your meter, incentive to actually get into a beam battle, because again, it's fun, it's fun that they have laser beam battles in it, but if you think about a game competitively, it's just like, if you shoot a laser beam at me full screen away, why the fuck would I not just dodge it? Do you know what I mean? Like, even when you played the game, if you're going to do a laser beam, you would just do it in a combo. Oh, I hit the guy, something, I did a laser beam. It's not like, say, virtual on when you're like riding or something like that and you're throwing bombs and doing all this other kind of stuff and then you're trying to make the guy go into your big laser beam or something shit like that. The game just isn't like that, right? Which, who knows, maybe this game's going to be different. There's actually going to be kind of setups to get the guy to go into more laser beams like virtual on or some shit like that. But maybe at least if there was something like that, a guy might be enticed, like, oh fuck, he's shooting a laser beam at me full screen. I could just move to the side, or you know what? If I get into this beam battle, I could take off 50% of the dude's life. Like, do I want to waste my meter against him? I could hold down the button. I have meter to spend. Plus I could mash on it for a little bit more. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ways like, how could you actually make a laser beam battle something you might go for in the game, right? Instead of something that's just for fun, right? Because again, I feel like you're going to be playing this game online versus people, and there's going to be like some Jimmy or some dude, or hey, maybe I'm going to do it. I don't know, right? I don't know how serious I'm going to take the game. I'm like, maybe I'm shooting a laser beam at you full screen. I'm like, come on, get into a beam battle with me. Let's do something fun. It's not like you're playing your brother and you're like, hey, let's get into like a laser beam battle. And you're like, oh, okay, let's do it for fun. You're going to be playing people online, and there's going to be trolls and everything like that. And there's going to be a lot of people like, you shot a laser beam at me. Like, why the fuck am I just not going to move away? At least if you add some kind of like strategy, potential strategy to it, like why would you ever do a laser beam battle? Maybe you might see it versus random dude in another country. Like, oh, he shot a laser beam at me. Like, you know what? I could get a lot of damage if I win this beam battle. Like, I have meter to spend. Maybe he might spend his bar, but maybe he won't. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm getting at? I don't know. But yeah, so I really hope they add some more unique moves. I hope they actually make beam battles something that you might want to go for. Because again, I'm not expecting the game to be the most insane, in-depth game ever. But I do think the past games had more depth than given credit for. But of course, ultimately, a lot of stuff was just, hey, I'm taking a pool of moves. What pool of moves? Which ones that I get on my character? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I hope I have a character that has like a barrier or something that can actually get out of the combo if I'm getting fucked in the back turn combo. You know what I mean? Just like I said, like, there were some strategies to the thing, and I hope a character like Janemba, I hope he has unique fireballs, and maybe someone might be like, oh, that's not fair. He has like one of the only unique fireballs in the game. And I would say, I don't care. There's 160 characters, and maybe one character only has this move. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can figure out other ways to make him not as unique. Maybe his fireball's a little bit slow, right? You know what I mean? So maybe there's like a disadvantage to it, right? Maybe Vegito, oh, he has a laser beam, he has a spirit sword just as a regular attack, and it can guard break you, but guess what? He doesn't have like a regular fast fireball. He only has the charge up Banshee Blast fireball. Because if you played the game, he had like fireball and a Banshee Blast fireball. Maybe in this game, guess what? He has a slow Banshee Blast fireball. Still counts as a fireball, but he doesn't have a rapid fireball. Again, I hope, which he does actually have a rapid fireball in that game, but hopefully you get him getting that. I just hope they add some more unique stuff to the game. I know there's supposed to be 160 characters, and I know adding unique stuff is even more unique because inevitably 160 characters, it's Dragon Ball Z. Not everybody is really that unique. I mean, it is Dragon Ball, right? A lot of characters, even in the anime, really are just, hey, it's my version of a laser beam. But when there's instances that you can actually give a character a unique move, I hope they actually give it to them. Anyway, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want to. Appreciate it. Thanks.